basically, long story short, what happened was I got put in a box, right? And I was constantly trying to think out there, think about doing this and that because I wanted to please everyone, right? That's usually why a lot of people fall victim of this.
May I have your attention, please?
You're my leader.
Now listening to Clear the Mechanism.
The Robby Rowe Show.
The Robby Rowe Show.
All right, what's going on, guys? Robby Rowland here, host of the Robby Rowe Show. I got a pitching talk segment for you guys today. I'm going to try to start just crushing these podcasts. Gonna do one probably every other day. So this particular one, if you've already watched the video, because the video's been up on YouTube and my website for, I want to say like 2 or 3 days, but I'm going to try to start doing these all as one. So obviously like FAQs and Q&As and all that stuff, I'll start diving into, more in detail breakdowns to people's questions. So this particular one, I've been getting a lot of questions regarding the Yips and how to go about curing the Yips. I've been very vocal within my baseball development journey about my struggles within this subject. So I love talking about it because I know a lot of people struggle with it, and it's one of those things where a lot of people aren't going to talk about it publicly. A lot of people aren't going to talk amongst their friends just because it's embarrassing, and there's no shame in wanting to talk about it. So I wanted to dive in and be sure that I kind of gave my full breakdown and did my due diligence, having, like I said, been a guy that's gone through it, and hopefully I could affect a lot of people through that. But I got a lot of good feedback when I posted a little preview on IGTV, so I figured why not throw it up on the podcast as well, just because trying to reach as many people as can, right? TheRobbyRoweShow.com/Yips, YIPS. That's the landing page. You'll see another podcast I did on the Yips. You'll see another pitching talk segment I did on the Yips, and then you'll see the one that I just recently did. If you're wanting to watch the video, you can do that as well. All right, so what do I got for you guys today as far as what I need to talk about in the show notes? I did a Pitch Logic and Diamond Kinetics product review on the Pitch Tracker. I did those. So I did a comparison, right? So I did Pitch Logic versus Rapsodo, then I did Diamond Kinetics versus Rapsodo, and then I did about a 10-minute video on my personal review on those two products. So be sure to go check those out. I'll link them in the show notes. It's as simple as TheRobbyRoweShow.com pitch-logic and TheRobbyRoweShow.com diamond-kinetics. Be sure to check those out. If you ever want to see any other of my product reviews, literally just go to my website, blogs, product reviews. Simple as that. What else? Like I said, trying to bring out as many FAQs. So I'm taking a lot of questions on email. If you're somebody listening to this that has a question on there, that has a question you want to ask me, shoot me an email, contact robbyrowe@gmail.com. What else? I got discount codes for you guys. They'll be always linked in the show notes. Just look for the link that says baseball product discounts. What else? Analysis. I've been doing a lot, been getting a lot of signups for the mechanical video analysis. So be sure that you are taking this time to not slam on the brakes. I know it's tough. I know there's a lot of excuses to be had in regards to social distancing and what have you, but there's still ways that you can get better. And I talked about this last night. I did an FAQ on how do we throw during social distancing. I'll link that in the show notes as well. But I basically say, look, dude, this, take advantage of this, because there's going to be 85% of your competition right now are making or utilizing all the excuses possible to not get better, whereas you can get better. And then when the time comes to get back into it, let's frickin' go, dude. You're gonna be there. So, like I said, I got all the discounts for you guys. If you need something, I'm gonna be partnering up with Oat Specialties on March 27th to give away a little package for you guys to get better on your own. So be sure to go to my Instagram for that. Instagram, ROBBYROW12, Robby Row 12. All right, we're going to be talking about the Yips, about a 10 to 12 minute segment. Hopefully you get something from this, and if you know somebody that struggles in this realm, be sure to do your part and send this to them in hopes to help. All right, guys, much love. Before this episode starts, got to hear from an advertisement. Sorry about it. See ya. What up, guys? So today's question that I want to tackle is a common question that I get amongst, not even just youth athletes or youth pitchers, but all throughout, and I guess not even just pitchers in general, but like baseball players, is how do you cure the yips, right? So that's like such a loaded question. But this question came up because in one of the segments that I just recently did with my dad, I'll link that in whatever I ended up doing with this, but it was a pitcher-catcher segment, and I was talking about how I've gone through the whole yippage thing in my career. I've been the guy that literally had no idea where the ball was going. It sucks. It's a grind. It's embarrassing, and you don't even know what to do from that point. But in the segment that I was referring to, I told my dad that anytime I would come home and throw to him, it seemed like I could put the ball where I wanted, relatively so. So a lot of people reached out and wanted to know, like, hey, why is that? How was that? How'd you go about that process? And I've talked about this more into more detail in pitching talk segments that I'll try to include in this as well. But all I can do is just talk from my personal experience, right? Like, I can't, there's no one size fits all answer, as most of you guys know within the baseball development industry anyways. What worked for me necessarily won't work for you. But I've had lots of consult calls over this topic. If you're somebody that really wants to dive in deeper and tell your whole story and get my feedback, I'd encourage you to sign up for a consult. I'll link that below as well. But basically how I went about it was all about regaining athleticism, because here's what happened to me is I was young in my career, and there was a lot of external influence playing a part of, hey, you should do this, hey, you should do that. And basically, long story short, what happened was I got put in a box, right? And I was constantly trying to think about doing this and that because I wanted to please everyone, right? That's usually why a lot of people fall victim of this dynamic, is because they try so hard to please people. They try so hard to not fail, not be bad, because it's embarrassing, right? So that's what was happening to me, was I would try so hard, and by trying hard, I think that kind of forced me into this mindset of having to think about every single thing I was doing to please the person that was telling me to do these types of things. So, over time, I just got completely uncomfortable and completely out of sync with what I've always done in my career. I got out of what allowed me to be good in the first place, right? Like, I was 88th overall in 2010 draft. Like, I was good, but I lost sight of what made me good because of trying to please so many different people. And then when you fail and you get that taste of failure and you get that taste of not doing good, you try to go that extra mile to please people. And then the other dynamic of that is when you're not doing good and you're not getting the results you want, more and more people are going to try to be hands-on with you in all in good love, right? I'll never disrespect any of the coaches that I've came across in my path, because I know that all they've tried to do is help. But almost in doing so, it could potentially make matters worse. So that's a little backstory on my path there. And then, like I said, for me to get out of that and to get out of that mental funk, I needed complete and absolute freedom, right? So, like I said, I was in a box, I was being restricted, I was moving like a robot, I was thinking so much, and I was putting so much pressure on myself because of how bad I wanted to do good. So the first step was identifying the physical part for me, right? Like identifying how can I create an environment that was going to allow me to be at my best and allow me to be free. So that kind of got back to really forcing that athleticism. I talk a lot about athleticism and how just because we're pitchers, it doesn't, it's the biggest misconception of oh, you're a pitcher, you're not an athlete. Frick that, dude. So for me, when I got released in 2014 due to this dynamic we're talking about, I came home and I told Dad, I was like, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to long toss every day of the week. We're going to take ground balls. We're going to take fly balls. We're going to play pepper. We're going to freaking make web gems. We're going to do all of these things that I did growing up as a kid and in high school. And, no accident that I was 88th overall. Right? I'm not trying to sit there and say like I'm bragging, but I know for those of you guys who are watching this, you had a moment in your life, in your career, where you were nails and you were solid. And we just got to get back to that. And more oftentimes than not, especially like I said, I talk to a lot of my clients that deal with this type of stuff. And it kind of is just that spark moment that they go, you know what, you're right. Like I've completely gotten out of that mindset of being an athlete. And I think what that does is you see a direct carryover to how you pitch, right? Because everyone's probably thinking like, oh, well, just because you take ground balls and this and that still means you got to do a pitching delivery on the mound. Absolutely. But what it does is it starts to instill that athletic nature and that rhythm and that timing. And then when you get on the mound, it's like, it's just there, right? So I think what happened to me was I stopped practicing those types of things. And then when I got on the mound, like I said, my mind took over. So for me only going through that process was fantastic. It sucked getting released, but that was the greatest thing in my career. It sucked having the yips at the time, but it was the greatest thing in my career because then I learned from it and I learned how to kind of approach, the what was going to allow me to be the best pitcher that I could be. I never really knew that when I was younger. So then when I went through all that, I came to the realization like, okay, for me to be at my best on the mound, I need to do X, Y, and Z, and I need to think X, Y, and Z, because I think it's direct correlation for me within being athletic out there, simplification, and just having fun, right? Because obviously when we have the yips and we suck and we're embarrassed, it's not fun. And it's easy to sit here and say, oh, we'll just have fun. The game's fun. Yeah, well, you haven't gone through the yips. I get it, right? So it's about checking those boxes of identification and then putting a plan in place and then simplifying the mindset. And as for me, once I regained a lot of athleticism, I started having fun again. And then once I started having fun again, that allowed me to be more simple within my mindset because it allowed me to be grateful for just being able to be healthy enough to throw. And then I think that kind of just all together started shifting the way that I thought about this whole baseball thing. And then that allowed me to, not only get signed that next year by the Cardinals, but all the way up to Arizona Fall League, AA, big league camp the next year. Like all of these good things just started happening just by really identifying what the process was going to be for me to, again, how could I be the best pitcher that I can be. Again, that's going to look different for everyone, but if you take one thing from this, it's about the identification of what's going to allow me, what does the process look like for me to be at my very best. And that's something that you got to figure out, and it'll benefit you drastically. So I know all I talked about was me, and I know there's no one size fits all to this yips thing, but create an environment that's going to allow you to be free, right? Have that professional filter to maybe hear others' thoughts about pitching mechanics or whatnot, but have the filter to apply it. If it doesn't work, get it out of your head. I know it's hard to do, but it's crucial, right? And then find a way to just have fun with it, like whatever that's going to be. Pick something out that's fun, no matter what it is. It's fun. Throwing by yourself, not having to think about what other people are thinking because there's no one there. Throwing by yourself into a net, give it a huge distance. Like for me, it was about long toss because I had this huge window of like, oh, I could throw it there and catch it. I could throw it there, and that just allowed me to be more free. And like I said, just that was it for me. That was going to be the thing that I needed to do. So I encourage you guys to look into that. Hopefully you took something from this. Hopefully it helps. If you do want to book that consult, it's below. And then if you want to reach out, let me know. All of my stuff, I'll include the segment that I did full on with the yips, and I'll also include the pitcher-catcher segment that I did with Pops. So best of luck, guys. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed that. Head to the show notes for the links talked about, all the new stuff coming out on the content library on my website, therobbyrowshow.com. and head over to content library in the menu tab. Like I said, FAQs and Q&As are going to be in the blog section, so I'll be trying to hammering out as many like FAQs, Q&A stuff as I can. But as always, guys, much love. Thanks for watching. You didn't watch anything, yikes. Thanks for listening. If you did watch, thanks for watching. I have a beard bun in, so it's been a good day. God bless. See you guys.